If you asked me how long we've been down here, I wouldn't know. We don't see the sun, and nobody seems to have a watch. It doesn't matter anyway. We don't have anywhere to be. For all we know, there isn't anywhere left to be. The surface has surely been overrun with death and decay by now. There are 6 of us left. Until just recently there were 7. Her screaming has stopped now, and I feel relief. It was hard to sleep with those agonizing screams and banging on the steel door. Huddled in my blankets, I look around at the other survivors, 4 men and a woman, all of us unkempt and haggard. At one point we all worked together, but since the accident, it's become our prison. The painfully low amount of food is in a pile in the center of the room, so we can all keep an eye on it to make sure nobody's taking more than what they're allowed per day. There is enough food for 3, maybe 4 meals. None of us want to think about it. We just stare. There are no beds, just piles of blankets and paper that make crude sleeping areas. There's one bedroom at the far end of the complex, and it has running water. There are 3 other rooms we used to work in, filled with computers and lab equipment that has accumulated a fine layer of dust. We still have power somehow. All the security cameras and lights still work. Unfortunately, none of the computers work because they've been shut and locked as per emergency protocol. Any contact with the outside world is non-existent. We worked for the military, doing basic chemical research. Somewhere along the line a chemical was leaked, and the results were fatal. People who came in direct contact with the chemical succumbed to vomiting, mild at first, then intense, until they had nothing to excrete except for their own blood. Nobody lasted more than a couple hours once they had touched the chemical. It also spread through saliva, bile, and blood. So those with the misfortune of coming into direct contact, even with a single drop, are doomed. We had to toss that woman out because we caught her vomiting in the toilet. She said she was pregnant and it was only morning sickness, but you can't be sure. Her fiancé Barry tried to intervene, calling us animals. We clubbed him over the head, then tied and gagged him to a thick pipe at one end of the room. He strains against the bonds and screams into the gag occasionally, a fierce and wild-eyed look on his face. It's for his own good, and good of everyone here. He might hurt someone. He needs to be untied and fed eventually, but no one wants to be the one to do it. So we all just sit here and stare at the pile of food on the floor that gets lower with each rashed meal. He's another mouth we can't afford. Everyone is on edge, twitchy and jumpy. Every moment is watched intensely with suspicious and unrelenting eyes. Nobody talks anymore. They just stare. We all know we're going to die. It's just a matter of time before hunger or the chemical gets us. It's all in the backs of our minds, eating away at our sanity. It's been a while now since the incident with the sick woman. Barry died while I was asleep, and our food supplies have run out. I draw the blanket over my head and drift into a fitful sleep, filled with hunger pangs. I'm awakened sometime later by the sound of whispers. I can see 3 of the members of the group huddled in a circle and identify them as Marcus, Daniel, and Eileen. My stirrings cause them to look over, piercing me with savage eyes. They start moving towards me with a hungry look on their faces. Their intent hits me with a sudden burst of fear. I scramble to my feet. Marcus grabs me by the collar, and it tears as I break loose from his grip. Daniel grabs at my blanket, and I shove him hard against the third attacker, Eileen. They go sprawling, and I spring past them into the computer room, locking the door as fast as I can, dragging desks and cabinet, and I make a crude and hopefully secure barricade. I see them banging themselves against the door and the windows, glaring at me with feral eyes. Something catches their attention down the hall, and then they stop, head snapping sharply in the direction of the bathroom. The 5th man, Jackson, must have finished using the facilities. Unaware of the intent of the other 3, he approaches and peers in the window, a puzzled look on his face. I try to scream a warning, but all that escapes my throat is a hoarse rattle. It's too late anyway. His face is smashed against the glass by one of the others. I stare in horror as his face is smashed to a pulp, each thud resounding through the room like a slow heartbeat. Then his body is taken away, and then there is silence. They're gone for now, but they'll be back. Hunger gnaws at my stomach, and I search frantically for any morsel of food. With extreme luck, I manage to find a candy bar in one of the desk drawers, and I hungrily devour it, thanking whoever it was who had a sweet tooth. My bliss soon passes, and the hunger pains return. I try to sleep, but even the slightest sound jolts me awake. I have no idea how much time has passed, but suddenly they were bashing the blood-smeared window with a pipe. They're going to get in, and I need to defend myself. There's an emergency axe in one of the corners of the room. inside a glass case. I smash the glass and retrieve it. It makes me feel a little better. My anxiety grows along with the spiderweb cracks on the window with each passing moment. After God knows how many attempts, the window finally shatters and the wild, barely human face of Marcus peers in. I sit in a chair with the axe out of view and wait. I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well go out fighting. He climbs in, followed by Aline and finally Daniel. They slowly approach, and in a mini skirmish line, when they get close enough, Marcus raises a pipe for a killing blow. Before he has time to bring it down, I swing the axe and slice him in the chest. The pipe clatters to the floor, and as I spring to my feet, Aline lunges at where I was and crashes into the now empty chair. I swing the axe, catching Daniel off guard and delivering a blow to the temple. His blood showers me and stings my eyes, blinding me. Aline lunges for me again and tackles me around the ankles, sending me to the ground. I manage to hang on to my axe, and as her hands clasp around my neck, I slash her throat. The hands grip tighter for a moment and then loosen, and a lifeless body crumples on top of me. Pushing her off, I stagger towards Marcus, gagging from the strangling I just had received. He was still alive, dragging himself through his own blood towards the fallen pipe. I stick my foot on his back and swing the axe onto his skull, my heart racing, and I stumble backwards and am grabbed from behind. The axe is wrenched from my hand, and I feel a sharp prick in my neck. I lose all muscle control and slump to the floor. Through blurred vision, I see men in hazmat suits all around me. I hear the sound of their voices, but they seem distorted and far away. The man nearest me speaks, and the words register in my brain with horror. The experiment has gone on long enough, he says, before I sink into total darkness. Credited to Kilkenny.